Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am back with Anita for interview number 8. Welcome, Anita. What is awesome?
Thank you. What is awesome is I am coming to you live from my brand new office in my new home.
Yay! And it's so beautiful. If you're not catching this on the video, it's like, it feels so good. What does it feel like to you?
Very calm and inspiring, and just a good place for money to flow.
Yes, I was going to say, like, when I see it, just even in like a video picture, it's like spacious and ready for more money to flow in.
Yeah. And the walls are like kind of seafoam green. So it's like a combination of money and also beachy vibes or Southwest vibes. And I have all kinds of international currency behind me on the windowsill.
Amazing.
So that's fun.
That is fun. I love it. You've been in your house. Remind us how long? Because I think last interview you weren't moved in yet. It was getting ready to close. So when did you move in?
We've been in for a full 3 months now.
Awesome.
Which seems wild. I can't even believe it's been that
long. Which it begs the question, do you feel like once you got there, time doesn't move faster in a bad way, but in a good way. It feels like, oh, it's coming for a long time. Now it's like, oh, we've been here for a while.
Yeah. It feels so good.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I love the feeling of like not having a next step to jump to.
Yes.
Like, I've arrived.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. When was the last time, if ever, you felt that?
Probably when I bought my first home by myself.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. It's awesome. I'm in the same place.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm not moving for a long time, like in a good way. And it just feels really good. Yeah.
It's so nice.
It's awesome. I love it.
Unless I get an influx of money, then I'll upgrade for sure.
Right. Which is always an option. I mean, speaking of money, I want to share these words and then I want you to share your total. But
okay.
You had posted this and I didn't put the date, but now that I've started keeping track again, I realized I've manifested $11,123.54 in the past 60 days. That's more than ever, faster than ever. Can't wait to find my old notebook, which was somewhere in the move, so I can add it to my actual total. Oh, and I've worked less than ever. So let's first talk about that $11,000 plus in 60 days. Because if you've been listening for a while, you remember in Anita's there's an earlier interview where we did coaching, because coming up on that 90-day mark and manifesting $10,000, it didn't look like it was going to happen. And so we coached through that and opened that up. And now you're the person who manifests $11,000 in 60 days, working less.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so different.
How does it feel to be that person?
Like exciting, but a very easygoing excited.
Yeah.
Like not a frazzly excitement. It's like just steady.
Oh, I love that. So fun. And I mean, you've worked less. I feel like you've also probably pushed less or tried to figure it out less too in the last.
Yes.
3 to 6
Yeah.
months.
I still have my moments, as you know, but it's so much different than it used to be. I used to push everything always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And is it and you don't have to answer this if you don't want, because I didn't ask before, but is it a choice to be working less? Is it sort of like a trust and I'm going to say yes to working less and trust money's coming in? Or was it someone else's choice?
No, it's my choice.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's my choice. And I've also trusted my own judgment as far as what type of work assignments I am putting on my schedule so that I've been strategically able to work less.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm trusting that money is coming, and I'm trusting that I don't have to work hard to do it.
That's amazing.
And it's the same or more money.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love
Yes.
that. Oh.
And I forgot to mention, I've totally let go of the Airbnb stress, and I have bookings solid until March.
Amazing. I was just going to ask. I think your Airbnb is doing really well, but again, it sort of was like a in passing and $3,000 is coming in on the Airbnb and this, right? That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I just completely trusted. That was a big one.
That is a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And it just keeps getting booked.
Yeah.
I love it.
So fun.
Of course it is. It is so fun.
Exactly. Of course it is. And that's what I said. December was empty for a while and we were approaching, and I just was like, it's going to come. Let me hear any day now.
Oh, yes.
You know, it has this fun little notification when somebody requests to book. So I was like, I know I'm going to hear that sound any second.
I love that.
Yeah.
and
it's booked.
Amazing. And did you have you tried to sort of have that attitude in the past, or was it just always stressful? Or would you sort of tell yourself, no, it'll book, and not believe it?
Oh, I never had that attitude in the past.
It wasn't even like
I was always like, I gotta. I mean, it was maybe a thought, but not much.
Yeah.
It was always like, oh, I got to be on top of this. I got to be looking at what other people are pricing their houses at. You know, I got to be competitive with the rest of the market. And I no longer do that. I don't look at anybody's listing. I don't care. It's irrelevant.
Amazing. Oh, so another example of making more money by working less, because I can imagine that was time consuming, and then the added like stress of thinking about it probably took up a lot of time.
Yeah. And I look at my booking rate as far as how many people are looking at my listing versus how many are booking. And it's like 3%. It's so low. And I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, somebody is going to look at it and want it. Like,
right. Because you don't need everyone to look at it. You don't need everyone to book it. It wouldn't be possible, right?
And it wouldn't be great, because I think I'm getting higher quality people.
Yes. That's awesome. Is that a shift to being like allowing that higher quality versus quality versus trying to get the quantity?
Yes. Yeah, that's a shift.
That's amazing.
Like right now, my minimum booking time is 28 days, which I never did before the summer. And so I don't have many turnovers. You know, it's like once a month. So that's new, and just it is easier.
Yeah.
And people want to stay, they're likely not going to trash the place if they're having to stay there for the entire month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was that an inspired, like, did one day you just, I want to know the story behind this. Did you just decide I'm only going to take 28-day bookings?
You know, actually my neighbor mentioned it in passing that he was, because of COVID, was only taking 28-day bookings. And it was like not even a conversation. He just mentioned it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. See how that goes. And it's been amazing.
Yes, I love that. And this is a perfect example of the law of attraction. It is those things that we just hear because our brain is tuning into the things that are going to help us get what we want, which is more money, less work. And so we hear those things, whereas those things in the past might have just gone by, or there might have been other thoughts about like, well, that's crazy or whatever, right? Instead, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I heard that. And that's the next step, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. In the past, I might have been like, oh, well, that's not a good strategy. I'm going to get more bookings,
Right? I'm going to work way harder for the same money because I'm going to get more bookings.
Yeah. Turns out less bookings is awesome.
That is amazing. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So fun. So many people's minds are like, oh my gosh, I want, like, that's possible, like, what if I had 28 day bookings? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So tell us what your manifested total is.
Okay. My manifested total is $140,000 and $140,486.98.
Woohoo!
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
How does it feel to be that person?
Super cool.
And I love to, yeah, right? And it was inspired even to add it up and to start counting and be like, oh yeah, that counts and that counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And actually, oh, never mind. I was going to say I didn't count the 2 cents I found on the plane, but I did.
Oh, yay! That's like
I was telling Mike. Yeah, I was telling Mike earlier today that I was on this 4-day work trip, and I said, I didn't spend 1 penny on this trip, but I found 2.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that was fun.
Oh, I love that. Very cool. And as we talked about, which is, I want to highlight for people listening, when you start manifesting more money, it starts to create more money, which is one of the reasons that I have you guys like write out, when I manifest $1 million, when I manifest 2 million, because once you get the ball rolling, it keeps rolling unless you change something, right? And so we were even talking about before, part of that money, not only is it manifested cash, but it's also saves you money every month, right? Like it's money that keeps on giving. In addition to being in the pot once, it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk about, you were inspired a couple weeks ago, I think, to just do some fun future math. So tell us about that.
Okay. Well, I have already known that I'm going to raise the rent at my long-term rental. And I can't remember what it was going to be raised, but I think $150 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And also that's going to happen in probably February 2022.
Yes.
My tenants decided they want to stay for another year.
Awesome.
Which is 5 years total now.
Amazing.
Yes, I
Talk
love
about
it.
Working less.
Yes. And so anyway, when that happens, and also in April 2022, I plan to have my car completely paid off, which currently my tenants basically pay for.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I calculated how much more I would be making a month without that car payment and with the increased rent and with my scheduled raise at work. And it comes out to about $1,000 extra a month with doing absolutely no more work. In fact, I forgot to mention this to you before, but it's doing less work at work.
Yay.
I
Of
decided
course
to
it
even
is.
cut back on my hours a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's doing absolutely nothing different.
Amazing. How does that feel?
Great. It's just so cool. I just was blown away when I saw that number.
It's so fun. And so, of course, you came to the call, and I love the inspiration to do this because this is one of the keys that I know played a huge role in my financial freedom was like, oh, okay, there's 1,000. And then what am I going to do with that? And even though, in the beginning, I was probably working out like 20 years, okay, I'll take this money and then I'll roll it and I'll pay this off. And then, that like, I'll get that full rent, whenever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing in the beginning, it was like 20 years out, but even like just being able to touch that place of, oh, this is happening. This isn't just, I want it to happen anymore, but it's going to happen, just opens up so much more space because now you can put yourself where, oh, I have $1,000 extra a month. And so I told you even before the interview, I said, oh, I'm excited to see how this just shows up faster because I know that now that you've stepped into that place, even though it's 2 years away or a year and a half away, it's happening. Like it. And so you're practicing being even more of that person without even doing anything extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 18 months. I mean, that's nothing.
Right? I know. You've already been in your house 3 months. That's just 6 times that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. And just knowing like that's just a given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it does not include whatever else is showing up in the next 18 months.
Oh my gosh.
Which could be anything.
Yay. Oh my gosh. I can hear the way you speak different. You're like, oh, that could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's different, right? From a year ago.
Yeah. 100%.
So fun. So what are you going to do with that $1,000 a month?
Well, I'm going to put $300 a month into my own personal vacation fund. That's a vacation for just me. I can go with my girlfriends anywhere, anytime. That's what that money is for. And $250 a month for a house cleaner because I like to do less of that.
Yes.
ASAP. So I got funner things to do with my time.
Right?
Amazing. And $140 a month for massages or beauty treatments.
Awesome.
$200 a month to put away to upgrades on my Airbnb. And $110 a month to go into my Roth IRA.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. That is so fun. And I'm pretty sure, I always love this. I'd have to look it up, but maybe you remember. I think that girlfriend travel was on your original Manifest 10K list, wasn't it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Probably. Go look it up. I think it was because it was like, no, I remember the words like just to go with my girlfriends wherever I want. Like,
mm-hmm.
And so I love how it's coming. And I'll confirm in the write-up for those listening. We're like, oh, was it? That, it comes back around. Like when we ask for something, even if it doesn't show up the way we expect, or we have to learn to let go a little bit in order to manifest a lot more, it comes back around. Those things that we ask for, those things that we get really clear on, they show up in ways that we didn't expect. They don't just go away. There's not like, oh, well, you didn't get that in 90 days, like erase that list. It's like, no, it's still sitting in this place for when you line up with it and you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that
I definitely feel that. And I'm just so excited that soon I'm going to be taking at least 2 awesome vacations a year.
Yay!
One with my honey and one with whoever I decide.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so fun. Well, speaking of girlfriends, And you don't have to tell the full story. You can tell whatever feels good to you. But I want to talk about an inspiration that you've had to write, because inspiration and finding that thing, or in learning what inspiration is, it's been a journey for you, right?
Yes, for sure. Because there has been historically a lot of confusion between what was inspiration and what was how.
Yes.
And making something happen.
I love it. So tell us, what is your current inspiration? And then I want to talk about how it felt different than things in the past.
Okay, my current inspiration has been to write a book about quitting drinking, which I did 8.5 months ago, which was also inspired. And I want to write a book about how to quit drinking, how I quit drinking. And it's basically a mindset shift book, because I think that's what it really takes to quit anything, is to reframe how you think about that thing, rather than just use sheer willpower to not do something that you think you enjoy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. So I already knew, listeners, what the book was about, but the clarity, like, that is for sure how I would say that, it's inspired, because the clarity, the crispness of your words is, there's no wobbliness. There's no mixed energy. It is like a direct, like it's like a laser.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really good.
That is awesome. And And how did it feel when it came up?
Really natural. And exciting. And I felt like I had a lot to say about it. And I'll go into how that came up.
Yeah.
I had come to you with a question about just these really intense, sad, lonely feelings I was having about a long lost best friend. And, not sure if I wanted to reach out to her, send a letter about my feelings and all of that. And you suggested I should write a letter to her, but not necessarily to send her. And so I could get all of my thoughts out on paper without that filter of, but somebody's going to read this later, and how are they going to think about it? So I just started a really honest letter about my feelings, and it just naturally went into, by the way, I quit drinking, and blah, 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 blah. And then it just poured out, and it was all about not drinking, and it's no longer about a letter to that person.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And actually, I think it also helped to ease some of that sadness that I had. And not really feel like I needed to do anything in regards to that friendship, at least at this time.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty cool how it just morphed into this book in progress.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. And oh my gosh, I love it, because that's how inspiration happens. It's just I love this story about, and I kind of knew it, but I love hearing the full background, like, writing, and then all of a sudden that's what it was, because that's inspiration. It's the thing you can't do. It's when you've opened up this moment. And watching you, I was thinking back to a conversation where you had, you bought a course. Do you remember this? To like give a course, create a course, right?
Yeah.
Was that right around the time that you stopped drinking? Was it after? And you might not remember.
That's a good question. I could look it up. Let me see.
Awesome. It just hit me now as I was hearing you say that, like, oh, that might be kind of around the same time, or it might have been halfway.
It was in May. So I quit drinking in February.
Awesome.
March, April, May. So 3 months later.
Cool. So not far enough into sort of where inspiration was going to come from about not drinking and this real clarity that you had. So it wasn't even a thought, right? When you did that course, there were a couple options and we talked about, which one, right? And I said, it doesn't matter.
I definitely did not. There were two things I was thinking about creating a course on, and drinking was not one of them. But now I'm like, holy crap. I bet this whole process could turn into a quit drinking course.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. And I love how we can see, because that buying that course, and I believe it'll probably come back around and support you, but buying that course was really a how, right?
Totally.
Did you think it was a how when you did it?
I had a suspicion it was a how, for sure. Yeah, because if it was truly inspired, I probably would have already had a topic that I was really passionate about teaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Because it's such a good example. That is one clue, right? When you were like, I don't know, how should I choose? Right? When it is the thing, there is no choice. We just know, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is so fun. And now I bet even as we're talking, I'm guessing in your mind, you're almost outlining the course.
Yeah.
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 Because the inspiration, you can see it. It's there. And even if it comes in pieces, and it's been a couple of weeks, maybe even a month since you've started writing in this. So you've been in it for a while. It's not like it was yesterday. And so as you grow in that, like our brain gets to that point where like, oh yeah, of course, boom, boom, boom. Here's the 6 things that I would teach, or here's the 6 or the 8 or the 20, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing of not being a how is when I did have how business ideas, there was always like a sense of urgency.
Yes. Yes,
like,
say more.
Get it off the ground and like, I gotta do this. And even with like the course creation class, they're really intense about like, these are your deadlines. You better have this done and that done and this done. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm like, get off my back.
Right.
And just writing has been very lackadaisical. Like I'll go a few days without writing for sure. And even when I do write, it's not a lot at a time. And that feels fine. And I'm not in a hurry because it's not something I'm hanging like all my efforts on. And like, I'm not seeing it as like, oh, the sooner I get this off the ground, the sooner I can make more money.
Yes, because you've already created a life in which money comes to you when you work less.
Yeah, I'm good. Money's flowing in.
Oh, that's the best place to be, which is also sometimes the hardest place. And I remember along your journey, I'm like, oh, just keep waiting. It's not here yet. Like there's a reason it's not here yet. And I truly believe it. You had to have that space. You had to be certain you could be the person who could work less and make more money.
Yeah.
Because otherwise this amazing idea would get pushed and would maybe become a how and might get lost in the shuffle of that because you didn't allow the space for it to grow naturally.
Yeah. And even sometimes I catch myself like feeling bad about not writing. And then I have to remind myself, like, it doesn't matter. Like it's going to be what it's going to be, what it's meant to be in the universe. And maybe it, becomes a published book, or maybe it's just leads me to something else. But there's no rush. So I'm constantly reminding myself of that.
That's amazing. Did you ever think you would become that person who said to yourself, there's no rush, it's going to come?
Not before I started this coaching program. No, I fully believed that you had to bust your ass to get anywhere.
Yes. Oh, what do you believe now?
That I am a person that attracts money and good things, and I am always safe and taken care of. And my abundance is just going to multiply over the years.
Yay! That is amazing.
Yeah.
And feels like the perfect just expansion and energy to wrap up on. Is there anything else on your heart that you would want to share? Or feeling called? And if not, that's a perfect place to end.
No,
Awesome.
I feel good.
Yay. I feel good too. And you listeners should soak all that up and feel good and just revel in this, that it is possible to open. It is possible to become the person who doesn't have to push and who trusts. And it takes time and it takes work and it takes being reminded. And it can be so good because you get to that moment that Anita just described where you believe that money comes to you and good things and you're always taken care of. So thank you, Anita, for sharing this such wonderful moment in your journey.
Absolutely.
So fun. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out what else is awesome in Anita's life next time.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.